Steinberg. I'm a Global Sustainability Director with Carney. I'm here at COP29 together with Oivia Wessendorff. Hi, Oivia.
Hi.
So I have to read your title because it's a long one. Oivia is the Advisor on Sustainable Transport and Global Outreach, Secretary General's Office, International Transport Forum at the OECD. So that's a long one. But can you tell us a little bit about ITF? What do you do? How are you working on sustainability topics?
Yeah, absolutely. So the International Transport Forum is an intergovernmental organization of 69 member countries. We are administratively integrated into the OECD, but we're politically independent. That's why we've got a much broader membership base. And we basically are responsible for being a think tank for across all modes of transport policy. So we produce research, advice to support our members with implementing sustainable transport policies. And we also convene the annual Summit of Transport Ministers every year in Germany in May.
Fantastic. And I heard something, there are rumors about a guide being launched tomorrow from ITF. Can you tell us something about that, or is it secret?
Oh, no, it's not a secret. But yes, tomorrow we will be launching a guide to integrating transport in NDCs. So this is a guide for governments to use, a 6-step framework for them to consider to ensure that their NDCs are implementable, ambitious, but investable on transport climate action.
So ITF then does a lot of work on transforming the transport industry into becoming more sustainable. But to date, what would you say, what achievements are you most proud of?
It's hard to choose. I think there's a lot of things that we do that can really support. From my side, in my role, what I really try and do is ensure that the transport sector and transport decision makers are engaged in these COP processes and engaged in these climate and energy processes. So last year, for example, we convened the first ever meeting of transport and energy ministers to discuss the nexus between transport and energy decarbonisation, because we need the energy sector to understand the decarbonisation pathway of the transport sector in order to achieve our goals. So I think that was a particularly kind of impactful moment that we're continuing to embed through our work with the forum.
So that really is so important because the sectors need to work together. We cannot decarbonize transport without energy. So thank you for doing that. But the focus of this COP is really around finance, right? So what investments do you think we need to see in order to accelerate the pace of just the transition to more sustainable transport?
Lots of investment, but strategic investment. And I think what we really need to see are clear action plans for investment that considers the role of public finance, private sector finance, MDBs. And I think what's really important is ensuring that this is articulated through a clear vision of what we want to achieve, but also not just in terms of return on investment. We need to think about the broader business case for these investments. So ITF analysis has found that if we plan for our transport infrastructure of the future now, so in line with our climate goals, it could cost 5% less than if we just continue on the existing pathway. So we need to be really strategic with setting out a vision for our future transport systems, and then aligning investments with that, considering the business case of non-action, but also considering how these investments support broader objectives around health, education, resilience, given the future threats of climate action. We were talking earlier about bridges, for example, and so it's really about setting out that strategic case in a really comprehensive way.
And I like how you focus also on the cost of inaction, because this is always underestimated. And I think also the business case is bigger than we sometimes see, because we think transport is transport and emissions. And then we don't factor in the cost of healthcare, considering that a third of all lung cancer, asthma, comes from air pollution from transport. So it's a really big conversation. Apart from money, which we need, and lots of it, as you say, apart from that, what do you think we need to see to again, accelerate? Like, what's missing?
It's not necessarily missing, but what I think we need to do more of is align. We need alignment between national government, local government, investors, and the private sector all around a common vision. And I think really with the next round of NDCs, this is an opportunity for governments to set out their visions and to work with the private sector and to work with their local governments to align, because we know that investors need certainty, and when they can see a clear action plan and when they can see frameworks that support alignment between all of the different levels, that is what will really enable us to move effectively into delivery and implementation. We've got a lot of ambition, but we need to move into delivery.
So given that, maybe this last question is almost redundant, but we're at COP after all, so I have to ask you, what are you hoping that we will see come out of COP? We haven't yet had Transport Day, that's tomorrow, but when this conference wraps up later this week, what do you hope we've achieved?
Of course, the goal on finance. But that's what everyone's here looking for. We absolutely need that. But I'm also really hoping to see governments empowered to submit NDCs by February with clear action plans across all sectors, not just transport, articulating how they work together to ensure that they can decarbonise their economy fully.
Great. Thank you so much, Oivia, and thank you for all the work you're doing here at COP. We all appreciate it. Thank you.